So every semester I record the health and safety videos. I used to not. And then we had this, little coronavirus thing happen. And we're about 3.5, 4 years in. And every semester since kind of fall 2020, I have tried to give to the best of my ability the most current information for my childcare ECE kind of professionals, administrators. We are now in fall 2023. And some of the bigger developments is we kind of stopped a lot of our mitigation things that we were doing, right? So we're not doing masks anymore. We're very little doing the temperatures. We're not masking. We're not doing those things that we used to kind of do. Some of us are even getting rid of like our portable air filters and things like that as well. But we're also seeing now a resurgence in this new kind of variant, and more people are starting to get COVID again. And also RSV has really kind of has gotten worse in our community for two really vulnerable populations. Our kind of young ones, especially under the age of 3, we've always kind of been really aware of RSV for our little children. So we're kind of a respiratory illness infection. And it's also really hitting recently our older adults as well. So we're thinking kind of grandparents, the older adults in our kind of families and our communities that might often be providing a really important role for young children in kind of care and babysitting, picking up from schools as well. I know that's kind of what it is in my family as well. My parents pick up on the early release day so that I can kind of continue to work and not have to be off at 1 o'clock on a Wednesday. So I am going to now share my screen with the most important information that I have recently gotten from the state. So I'm going to go over a couple of things with you right now, if my computer will allow me. Stand by. Okay. We should be up to this page. Sorry for the disruption. So this is the California Department of Public Health. Probably a little bit familiar with it if you've been kind of working in the classroom. Maybe you don't actually read these. If you've been out of the classroom, you've probably gotten some of this information. A lot of this comes to me straight from community care licensing, who sends out alerts. So if you are not getting emails from community care licensing, I would definitely go to it. If you go to their website, you can hit like contact me or their main page. They have like listservs and things like that. You can always email me and I can help you find it as well. So they send these out to me. It's not just about public health and health information. It's about all types of community care things. But they have just recently sent this out for kind of the fall of 2023. So this is their webpage. This is great because we are going to see all of our numbers. And you can say, hey, I'm a teacher, or I'm a parent, or I'm an administrator, something like that. What am I looking for? And this is great for K through 12, which is kind of how they're releasing it. But a lot of us, community care licensing is also involved with this and kind of is part of it as well. So it also serves our ECE programs as well. So if you've never seen this before, I highly recommend that you kind of check it out. It goes over all infectious diseases because, let's be honest, we get hit with lice, right? We get hit with, what was the one that came through my kids' school? The hand, foot, and mouth. Really hit us when my daughter was in kindergarten. All of those types of infectious diseases, communicable diseases, this is where it all kind of happens, or the best place that I found and the best website in California. So they've recently sent this out for the fall. The related materials are also good. You can go to the Safe Schools for All hub, shots, and then make the most out of masking, which also can give you like flyers that you can put out if you're going to go back to masking. or if we're asked to go back. So this guidance is for licensed childcare centers, also license exempt as well, which might be like gym, preschools, or gym kind of drop-in care, things like that, K through 12, educational sites, preschools, all of those types of things. I do want to go over general considerations real fast because I'm not sure if I kind of talked about this in my normal kind of video on health and safety that you also watch, is like the big umbrella that we're all kind of under is OSHA. That is Occupational Safety and Health, and that's like the federal organization. And so they, as we are employers, right, and employees, we are all kind of under that because we're in a workplace, right? And so we have like special considerations with like how much we need to lift, all of those bleach and could be toxic, bad for us chemicals if we weren't preparing them correctly. That's why we get trained on what the dilution is, because you're not just going to walk around with a bottle of bleach in an infant room, just kind of leave it out on the counter. We've got to be really careful for the babies in our lives, and also for us as employees, and also for the people who we will be employers of. So OSHA is that. And then we have Cal OSHA, which is like the state version of OSHA. So it's for California state. It's like, they're like our bigger thing that we're all underneath. Then especially when it comes to things like COVID, we're a little bit more aware of like the state agencies, like I'm talking to you right now about California Public Health, and then the local health department as well have been really, really important because they kind of interpret and work with community care licensing, and the school districts and the places that we might be employed for as well. They're all going to kind of mix together with those state agencies, all under this umbrella of kind of OSHA. So we have lots of guidance and they might change, right? Because, Southern California, we got hit pretty hard by Corona. From LA into the Inland Empires, all the way to kind of down to the border, we were having higher rates than other kind of parts of California that maybe like the northern parts of the state had less rates. So our local health departments had to kind of have stronger precautions in place when it came to masking and air filters and things like that. And what they kind of do when they're looking at this, it's very standardized, is they're looking at vaccination, they're looking at outbreaks, they're looking at indoor air quality, because remember, we have a lot of our fires and things like that might be impacting things on like a weekly basis as well. Resources, how many tests do we have, are they still good, that type of thing. That happened just in my husband's workplace. He works in a medical lab, and so they take testing very, very seriously, and they got a bunch from the federal government back in 2020, and they were going to start going bad in 2024. So they actually sent them all out, and I have like 15 tests in my house, which has been amazing because they just wanted the employees to have them. So you don't have to come in anymore or go to a site in order to test. You could just do it at home. And that was something that the employer kind of paid for as well. So we needed to be aware of tests. When do we test? How should we test as well? That kind of changes where the workplace are. Do you work in a medical lab or do you work with young children like we do? The populations that we're serving, so individuals for high risk for disease and an immune compromised populations. So imagine if you work for we have some specialty preschools in Temecula and North County and Oceanside that I'm aware of that provide care for mildly ill children. Or if you have somebody in your program who is immune compromised. I have asthma, so I've kind of thought of myself as that way since COVID kind of happened, because I really don't need another infection in my lungs to kind of have that permanent lung damage that we could have. So we're looking at all these types of things. So those are the considerations that they kind of have. I wanted to just walk you through this so you're kind of aware of like you exist in a larger kind of system. You all took child, family, and community class in order to get into this class. And so remember Brofenbrenner, and at the center is like the child or the developing person. Well, we're as an employer, an employee, a leader, an administrator, a teacher, we're in a larger system, right? We've got all of our families, we've got the teachers that we work with, we've got the kids that we work with. So we've got these larger systems around us. And if we go out of that first kind of ring into that second is kind of the exosystem, right? Hopefully it's ringing a little bit of a bell for you guys. And that as a teacher administrator is all of this thing that I'm talking about. OSHA, community care licensing, things like that are a little bit outside of scope, but they're definitely impacting our classrooms, right? In our environments and how we interact connect with our families. Because I remember dropping my daughter off during coronavirus. You know, she went just for a few hours a day while I was working. And I didn't get to see her preschool teachers because I had to wait outside and they would bring her out to me. And this was all through like the assistant director. So I wasn't like going in and I wasn't bringing my germs. So it like really kind of changed because community care licensing, based on OSHA, based on public health, we're making this decisions about how do you pick up, how do you drop off to mitigate this disease or this infection that we have. So speaking of that, mitigation strategies, these are all types of things that you can have. Or air quality is going to be a really, really big one, especially as we kind of look at RSV, masking, things like that as well. Also, how you might use portable air cleaners. You might want to look at that type of stuff. Ventilation as well in schools and childcare programs. This one might be a really important one as well, especially if you need more or you need better ones or you want to upgrade or you don't have any. You might want to look at this because this information is going to be really important when you are trying to defend why you need the funding in order to have portable air filters in your kind of young children's classrooms, maybe writing grants as well in order to do that. More about face masks, which we should be very aware of because we taught with them for so long. This is my first semester actually teaching without them. No. Last semester, spring of 2023 was my first semester, not like I didn't wear a mask. I kept all the doors open. And we had our portable air filters always going. And some students chose to wear masks. And I wore it when I was like, for 2 weeks, I was kind of recovering from a head cold. But other than that, I did not wear them. So that was good. We might go back though, if these kind of new coronavirus variant rates start to kind of raise. We might have community care licensing, as I'm kind of talking about through this whole thing, work with public health to kind of be like, hey, we might have to go back to masking. Reminding our families and our parents and ourselves about our hand washing, right? As somebody who works with young adults, I have seen some poor hand washing recently in our kind of campus bathrooms, which is a little bit concerning that we're, forgetting how long we have to wash them for. We have to get the fronts and the back, how much soap we have to use, all of those types of things. So I think it's something that we all kind of were really good about for a while. And now we're kind of falling off that cliff and we need to get back into the importance of reminding our families, especially, and then also coming back from breaks about washing your hands for our teachers as well. How we have people who have COVID, and this is how we're going to report. So if you are not if you haven't been reporting, you probably want to talk to your community care analyst about that. You should have some kind of relationship with them about this. But this is the second bullet point right here, child care centers. So that's Title 22 is community care licensing, or what I call licensing, and also for family child care as well. And then you might also, and then these three links right here are going to be really, really important for us as we continue to make sure that we're kind of generally keeping on top of rates. So the more that we report, the more that we have a sense of how children and families are being affected by coronavirus and RSV as we kind of continue to fight it as well. Cleaning facility, all of the things that I know that we're pretty good about as well. So routine daily cleaning. If you need any more information, I've got more in the regular lecture that I will also have. So like this is my most updated one that I'm doing every single semester, just to give you the most up-to-date information. Then I have another kind of lecture that's more general about what we would generally do if we weren't living in the midst of, a global pandemic. Testing, other considerations for children with disabilities or healthcare needs. So if you are working with a lot of children who have physical disabilities, this is more information. And then that's basically it. But I just wanted to kind of take the opportunity to show you a really, really important resource, which is that website that we were just on. Don't forget, if you're not getting emails regularly from community care licensing, to sign up for their listserv. They'll give them generally weekly, and then as important things happen, it's like they sent something out right as Hillary was happening. so that we could be aware of like disruptions that might be happening. They'll usually send one out if there's big fires, like with the paradise fires. They'll also send them out like where you can evacuate and things like that. Which is always really important to me. I had to evacuate a preschool once on Camp Pendleton, and evacuating 300 children, and then getting everybody home is really, really stressful. And we're not community care licensing because it's on Camp Pendleton. And I really could have used, I think, that larger organization and agency and would have really welcomed their help when we were kind of doing that. So community care licensing, OSHA, all of those things are not our enemy. They are the people who are here to help and support us and keep us healthy and safe. So please reach out to me if you need help kind of accessing some of those resources, or if you need help kind of just navigating how you're going to start having a better relationship with some of these state agencies as well. All right, I'll see you guys more online. Bye.